Okay, so then what we're gonna do is we're gonna show you guys how to bench properly, okay? And you know, Laura, she has the pound for pound, the biggest bench in history, and your 530 bench at 163. Westside has multiple 900-pound benchers and full meets, huge benches, tons of 800-pound benchers, just big benches, okay? So what we're gonna do, first thing that we do is we bring the shoulders back. So if her arms are up, it's like I'd give a cue of take someone and have them pinch your finger with their shoulder blades, okay? And so you can see how it pulls it in tight to the socket. Well, since it pulls it in tight to the socket, we have a lower chance of injury. Also, the rear delts are sitting on the bench. A lot of times when you see people in the gym, they're benching, the shoulders aren't even touching the bench, okay? So they're protected that way. She's gonna lay back. And what you'll notice is when she brings the weight out, I want you to notice from the side. Most people bring the weight out and they start above their eyes. She's gonna bring the weight all the way out. So you know she'll come straight down, straight up in a straight line. On the way down, she is breaking the bar. On the way up, she's spreading the bar, okay? We're pretending like it's a rubber band and trying to stretch it. Your hands aren't gonna move, but you're pulling as hard as you can. This gives us optimal tricep activation. You also see how wide her feet are. Her feet are nice and wide. She's pushing into the ground. She's spreading the floor with her feet. She'll also flex her glutes. Her shoulders are really tight together, which gives a little bit of an arch. It's not that she's trying to arch, but if you keep your shoulders as tight as possible, if I put my shoulders back in a proper position like in the military, you stand up at attention, your chest gets pulled through, right? Same thing. It's like proper posture, but laying on a bench. Her shoulders are pulled tight. And what we mean by breaking the bars, we're breaking the bar like that. That's external rotation of the shoulders. You want to put the bar back? Okay. So we're breaking the bar this way on the way down, okay? On the way up, we're spreading the bar. That activates the triceps real hard. When we break that bar, it gives us a proper angle for our elbows. It also gives external rotation in the shoulders, which allows us to create more torque. So in a bench, if you go into Urban Active, LA Fitness, any of these gyms, you watch every single person in the gym do this. People all the time will take the weight out from way behind them. I can't set it in my lats, I can't get my shoulders tight if the weight's too far back. So if you notice she sits real far back, you see a lot of your athletes, clients will be real far back and they try to pull a weight from too far back, okay? So when you pull weight, a lot of people start here, right above their eyes. They come down and come back up. Well, when I do that, I have rotation of my rotator cuffs. That's how I can injure my rotator cuffs, okay? A lot of people too, when they come down, they think the farthest they get the bar away from, they're done. See where my shoulders are? They're not even touching the bench. You see that all the time. That's what it leads to when people get hard and they start struggling, they start trying to push away, and you'll see that uneven extension. If I see uneven extension, if I see the bar turn, or if I see one side go up over another, I know you're not stretching the bar. If you are stretching the bar on the way up, it can't bobble back and forth like that. So instead of being like this, again, same thing like Laura was doing, I bring the weight out farther, straight down, spread the bar, okay? So we're not out here coming down and back, okay? You'll see a lot of people drift too far back, get caught underneath the hooks, hit the hooks, go all the way around. So you want to sit back far enough so you don't take the weight out too far behind you. You want to be right here, straight down, straight up. At first, if you have not benched like that, you're gonna feel like you might dump the weight forward. Don't worry about it. When we hand out to you, we're gonna put you exactly where you should be. You're gonna be completely safe there, okay? Things you watch for when you're training your clients. Make sure their rear delts are on the bench the whole time. Make sure their shoulders are pressed back. I've separated both shoulders so many times it's not even funny. And it got to the point where it just killed me to bench every time I benched. Once I learned how to bench like this, it allowed me to start benching again, and I can do this again and not have problems. If you go to Westside Barbell, nobody has shoulder problems. It takes the pressure off the shoulders and lowers your injury rate dramatically. I mean, about 95% lower injury rate in shoulders by doing it this way, okay? And it allows you to create as much power and torque as possible, all right? Any questions so far on the movement of what you saw? Yeah.
Because it's also optimal, try is the best biomechanics position, right? That's why.
Yes.
That's why you can push so hard. That's why the shoulders externally rotate. The same ideas are optimal and safest.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. External rotation. My shoulders are as tight in the socket as possible. I'm not rotating the rotator cuff. I'm getting external rotation so that I'm dug in tight with my shoulders, and I get optimal torque out of my shoulders. My traps are tight. If you notice, when she sets up, she doesn't look like she's going anywhere, does she? How many benches have you seen where they lean to a side or they go up, they're all over the place, right? But almost everybody you see does something like that. When you see us bench, straight bar pattern, the shortest distance in a straight line, we have no drift. So, you know, if you come down above your eyes and you come down this way, a lot of times you'll see, you ever see people bench and they go like this and the weight comes out in front of them and they come back? Well, the reason being, if I take a basketball and I bounce it at a 45-degree angle, it's going to bounce away from me at a 45-degree angle, right? If I come down with a little too much weight and it gets away from me, it's going to bounce away in the exact opposite angle of what it came down at. That's what I know that you're not benching right. For us, if we miss, it's straight down, straight up. If it comes up and it stops there. It doesn't stop forward, it doesn't stop backwards, it doesn't, you know, do any of that. When those people come down on an angle and it goes forward, it jacks your shoulders like that, and you'll see it puts a ton of pressure in that shoulder. Real high chance of injury, okay? But we also know they're doing it wrong. So you're right. You get proper mechanics, but proper mechanics also gives you the least amount of injury, okay? No rotation in the rotator cuff. We spread the bar. We're not going to have the bar going side to side, so we're not going to dump a lot of weight into a shoulder in the way it shouldn't be. We're pushing into the floor, squeezing the glutes, so everything is very tight, very stable. You're not getting any unnecessary movement.
Head position, is there any particular preference, chin in the chest or back?
Head position, 99% of the time, you want the head on the bench the whole time. You want to body up and keep that head on the bench. You'll come down, you'll feel in touches, you go. Very few people can lift their head. Laura can do it, she's good at it, but most people and top people I don't like to. When they're coming out and their head's back, if they lift their head, a lot of times what you'll see is this. The head will come up, and see when I lift the head, the chest caves a lot of times. When the chest caves, it puts a ton of pressure into that shoulder, because we want this. So what I want is the head's back, I body up, I want the arm at a 90-degree angle to the ground, okay? And I want to come up. If I'm coming down, I'm like chasing my chest. See right here how I'm not even, my arms aren't moving, my chest is dropping. So you'll see people when they're benching, and if they come down, it looks like they're not even catching up to their chest. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes their chest is going away as fast as their arms are coming down. So you're putting yourself mechanically at a disadvantage, and you're putting a lot of pressure into the shoulders. So it's easier to teach people to keep their heads down because they're more likely to be able to hit that angle and not hurt themselves. A few people can get away with lifting their heads, but not many. So I just teach people head down from the beginning.
How important is it to have somebody, would you recommend somebody pulls the bar off themselves, or that the spotter pulls the bar off? Because
Here's what I recommend. On heavy weights, we have people hand off to us so that, you know, when we're back here, we have more pressure in our triceps. We got to rotate that rotator cuff to get that weight in. So we'll have people help us to get into position, okay? That being said, do not let your handoff person take all the weight for you, okay? Squeeze that bar hard, choke it, try to indent your fingerprints into that bar. Take the bar out strong. When you take the bar out, take it out as strong as you can. Give them as much help as you can. They'll just ease the pressure off your shoulders, okay? Routinely, when I'm helping people, I handle a lot of people at meets. The biggest benchers are the ones who also take the most weight out of the rack. Now, they're lifting more weight, so you'd say it should be just as hard no matter who if I hand up to a 400-pound bencher or a 900-pound bencher, you think it'd just be just as hard. Your strongest benchers take more weight. Your benchers that aren't as consistent, don't take as much weight, aren't as consistent, they do not press as much weight. It's how it is. So yes, we do want to hand off, but also the lifter should be conscious of putting a good effort into getting the weight out. That's where we see some mistakes though. People go take the weight off and they try harder and they get the shoulders out. Realize, shoulders back, take the weight out. The other problem where I see when you're watching your clients is they might get the first rep good, but a lot of times what they'll do is they'll rep and then they'll let the shoulders out after they rep. Or they have the shoulders back in their first rep and then their second rep, they start to come out farther each rep. So those are, when you're first teaching this, those are the things you want to look for. Make sure those rear delts are on the bench. watch, just because the first rep doesn't mean the second rep will be like that. Or they'll start with them tucked and they let them go when they get to the top. Okay, so those are some of the things that you'll look for when people bench, all right? And then obviously teach everybody how to hand off and spot for each other when you do that, just for safety, okay? Any other questions?